Hey everybody, my name is Angie. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be making a Peekaboo Beauty Bag by Mormino. So it's a super quick, very large makeup bag. It's got a ton of space in here. Oh, well, I have another bag inside of it, but yeah. This thing is huge. Pretty massive. I am using this for myself. I need something to put like nail polish and stuff like that in. Right now I have it in one of those like 3-drawer plastic Rubbermaid things or whatever, and they're just kind of all scattered around the bottom of it. So I just want something to kind of keep them contained, which is going to be this, except the large size, the normal size, does not fit in the drawer that I use for them, and I still want it to fit in there. So I am going to size down the pattern, which is the little bag that's inside of here. So I just printed out the pattern at, it was either 80 or 85%. I can't remember which, but either way would work. And it ends up being a cute little bag. So this is the either 80 or 85%. I can't remember what size I printed it to, but this is that size compared to the large size, so, or the normal size. So this is what I am going to be making today. Only adjustment is I am going to be putting handles on it, just like little short grab handles, just so that I can easily grab it and carry it downstairs where I like do my nails if I'm going to. Because I usually have my hands full with other stuff, so carrying this would just be a little more awkward than carrying it with a little handle. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using canvas on the center part of it, vinyl for the sides, like marine vinyl, and then waterproof canvas for the lining. So the only part that I'm going to be interfacing is the canvas part. I'm going to do a layer of SF101 and then a layer of 809. You can use Decaville Light too, or even Feasible Fleece or something like that would be fine. But that is the combination that I am using, SF101 and 809. It'll give it a little bit of structure. I am not interfacing the waterproof canvas lining or the vinyl accents. If you are using fabric for the accents here, you're going to want to interface those with, you know, the same as what you do for the center here. And then if you're using cotton for the lining, then I would go ahead and interface that too. But yeah, that is all I am doing. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I'm going to start with one of the center panels here and 2 of the side panels. And what we're going to do is just align the sides over here so that when we open it up, it'll be with the corners over this way. So I'm just gonna clip that in place, and I'm gonna go ahead and sew. I'm gonna use a 3/8 inch seam allowance. It honestly doesn't matter what seam allowance you use, I don't think, as long as you use the same on everything. But I'm gonna use a 3/8 inch seam allowance to sew both of these, and then open it up and then top stitch on the vinyl. All right, so we got that sewed together. So we sewed it together and then top stitched on both sides. Now we'll go ahead and do that to the other side. So we have 2 pieces that look like that. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and work on my straps. So if you're not putting like a handle or a strap or anything like that on the bag, then you can skip this part. But I am gonna put like a little handle on it. So I already have my 2 pieces here, which I believe I cut to 14 inches, and I drew a line down the center, and now I'm just gonna go and fold it, both of the raw edges in towards the center, and then fold them over just like normal straps to hide the raw edges. I'm gonna press that with the iron and then sew down either side. And I think I am going to fold in the ends of them as well, just so that I don't have any raw edges, because I'm not going to sew it into the top zipper seam. I think I'm just going to stitch it down here a little bit, just to reduce some of the bulk in the zipper, because this part of it is already kind of thick in the zipper. So yeah, I think the ends of both of them I'm going to fold in like a 1/4 inch. Then from there, fold in and fold in so that we have a nice no raw edges on the ends of anything. All of the raw edges are hidden. So that is what I'm going to go ahead and do now. All right, so I got it all clipped. Now I just need to go ahead and sew. So I'm just gonna do a box around the entire thing. So I do want to sew the ends closed. So I'm just gonna do a box around the entire thing. All right, got both of my straps sewed. So I am just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it so that the strap is right butting up to the edge of the vinyl there. We'll do like, I'm gonna do 2 inches down, so that the edge of the fabric here is 2 inches down from the top. And I'm just gonna clip it in place up here. And I'm only gonna go up an inch to sew it. So I'll do that on both sides. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do like a box stitch right here, an inch up and down. Alright, and since this isn't part of the actual pattern, I'll show you what I'm doing. So I have it clipped up here, so I know it's secure down here. So I'm just starting towards the bottom, back stitch a little bit, come down until my stitching, like where I top stitch the strap is, I'm coming down to there, and then pivot, go across the bottom until I get to my top stitching that's coming back up. Pivot again, trim my starting thread, and start coming back up, but I am going to just put the 1 inch line right next to the end of my strap here so that I know I'm ending 1 inch up from the bottom. Go back across. Back down. I'm gonna back stitch my way back up to the top. This is for me and the thread is blending in, so I don't really care that I'm doubling up my top stitching or anything. I'm just basically back stitching a lot, but then I'm going to come across the top again one more time just so the top is extra secure, since that's going to bear the weight of like the tugging when I hang on to the strap. So there we go, that's one side, and then we'll go and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so there we go. So now we have the strap on there, and I'm just going to want to push this out of the way. We can't really pin it or anything like that, but we just want to push this back out of the way so that we can go ahead and insert our zipper now. So to start off with the zipper, I'm going to put my zipper ends, zipper tabs, whatever you want to call these, on the ends of my zipper, and then just go ahead and top stitch those on right in place on the zipper there. All right, zipper tabs sewn on. So now I'm going to go ahead and center my zipper, pull my handles back, and center my zipper on the one of the exterior pieces. Doesn't matter which one, they're both the same. And I'm just eyeballing it. Actually, I'm going to pull my zipper open because I'm going to start basting it over here. It does get a little tricky around your strap because they want to fold back up, but just gotta fold them out of the way. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and baste that on. All right, so that side is basted on. So now I just need to go ahead and put this side on here. And then we'll go ahead and sew that together. All right, so mine's a little short because I accidentally cut it short, so that was my bad. But when you are sizing it down, the seam allowance does matter a little bit, so because of the piecing the front together. So my lining is a little bit big. I probably should have used a smaller seam allowance, but that's fine. I'll just go ahead and trim down the lining over here. And we'll need to do that to the other lining piece as well. Because I cut this wrong, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do like the same seam allowance in the lining and the exterior in order to account for that. Normally I do a smaller seam allowance in the lining, or I'm sorry, a bigger seam allowance in the lining so that it sits nicely. But since I cut it smaller, I think if I do the same seam allowance, then that'll make it sit nicely and kind of be the equivalent of using a different seam allowance. All right, and now we need to go ahead and just fold this back and top stitch through the exterior. So you want to hold this out of the way while we're top stitching, and then go ahead and top stitch 1/8 of an inch right along here. All right, so we got the lining and the exterior on one side of the zipper. So now we need to go ahead and do the same thing with the other side. So I'm going to fold back my handles on both and then center it. I feel like it's easier to do with the zipper on top so I can see what I'm doing. But I'm going to center the zipper on that exterior. All right, and then we'll go ahead and baste that in place. All right, we got the one exterior side basted on. So now we're going to get our other lining, center that. And then we'll go ahead and sew that again. All right, that is sewn on. So now we'll flip that back again. Fold these out of the way and then top stitch. All right, so I got that all sewn together, and now I am going to go ahead and take it over to the iron and just steam press this seam open since I didn't top stitch through it. So I'll just hit it with some quick steam, not too much because there is vinyl on the other side of it and I don't want to damage or melt anything, so that's what we'll go ahead and do next. All right, and man, that is a big difference. How big of a difference is that? I apparently cut this real bad. That is a 1/2 inch difference. Okay, I am gonna go ahead and trim up the exterior just because I clearly cut my lining wrong. And that's a little bit too big of a gap to ignore. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is put it all together, right sides of the lining together. And what I'm doing is folding it so that I am pinching the zipper tabs towards the exterior so that the zipper is kind of pushed into the lining. And then the exterior seam over here where I top stitched, I'm just aligning that. and then clipping everything after that. And then I'll do the same thing over here. And then clip that. And these two seams here, the side accents, they should align as well. So we'll go ahead and clip those in place too. And then we'll just go ahead and sew around the entire thing at, we'll use 3/8 inch seam allowance, except the lining, I'm gonna go ahead and veer over a little bit to closer to like a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm gonna basically start over here at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, sew a 1/2 inch, start moving over to 3/8 inch seam allowance, so that by the time I'm up here close to my zipper, I'm sewing at 3/8 inch seam allowance. Finish this line at 3/8, this whole line at 3/8. Then this one, we'll go ahead and do the 3/8 inch all the way up until we pass over the zipper, and then we'll start shifting back over to the 1/2 inch seam allowance again, and then 1/2 inch down here. All right, so we went ahead and sewed everything. So now we just need to trim down our seam allowance to about 1/8 inch seam allowance. All right, all trimmed up. So now we just need to go ahead and box the corners. So what I'm gonna do is stick my hand in through the opening in the lining, and that just helps everything get pushed out more. And then you can either butterfly this open or nest the seams, whichever you like to do. With thicker vinyl, I usually I usually butterfly the seam open. I feel like it just disperses the thickness a little better. Normally, I like to nest the seams, but just do that on all of these sides. It can be a little hard to nest the seams, or it can be a little hard to butterfly the seams open when you've trimmed down the seam allowance, but that's all right, just do what you can. And then for the bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and nest those because I just find it to be easier and it's not so thick. Okay, and then the two lining boxed corners, we're gonna go ahead and sew those at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and the exterior, we're gonna sew those at 3/8 inch seam allowance. All right, so then we can trim back these seam allowances. And we'll go ahead and turn it through the opening. All right, push out corners. The zipper tab. And then I usually like to take like a Sharpie or something like that and just kind of, or a pencil, and push up from the lining, like not from the inside of the lining, but just from the right side of the lining into the zipper tab. It just kind of helps round it out a little bit and makes it look nicer. All right, last step. last step is just sewing up this opening. And we'll do that at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, as close to the edge of the fabric as you can get, making sure that you catch both sides. All right, and now we just press those corners in and shove it inside. All right, so there we go. That is the mini, we'll call it, Peekaboo Beauty Bag by Mormino with modified handles on it. So yeah, this is gonna go, or this is gonna be perfect for my nail polish, which is what I intend to use it for. But yeah, this would be great for like a little, I mean, you could use this as a little purse, you know, carry it like in the crook of your arm there, or you know, for a makeup bag for travel, but you have a nice little handle on it, or for college students, you know, if they need something while they're in the dorms or something like that, put the little handle on it, and you know, they can go back and forth to the bathroom. This is perfect for that. The large size would be especially good for that, because this probably wouldn't be able to hold too much like shampoo and stuff like that, but like the big one, that would be pretty awesome for that. And I really like having these handles here, just because otherwise, you know, you gotta kind of carry it like this or whatever. I don't know. I just like it with the handles. So there we go. If you found this video helpful, I was trying to go a little bit faster, not show as much detail with the sewing as I normally do. So if you like that style, leave me a comment down below. Or if you like the longer videos that, you know, are a little bit more detailed and show you how I actually do the sewing part of it, let me know. I'd love the feedback. But yeah, so there we go. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for future videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.